Just on my way back, many of you were introduced to Daniel Cordina this weekend, a gentleman that came from Australia to watch the Mohawk Millions, watch the horses race, and then continue on and go to the Lexington sale. Obviously, not the weekend we wanted, but that's racing. We're going to have to take the good with the bad, and I think we all know by now the good feels great because there is bad kicking around from time to time, and that was a tough one on Saturday night. But you know what? Hopefully, it's not the last time we get to race in those types of races. In fact, I know for sure it won't be. I'm going to go through all the horses: 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, age horses. I'm going to try and do it in this way today because you know what? I'm gonna. Football's on, the baseball's on. We've all had a so-so week, and I don't think a whole lot has changed. Any of the updates really just come in the. You know what I'll do? I'm going to start off by talking about the horses. I opened up the stable page here on my iPad, and I'm going to pull over because there's no traffic here whatsoever. I'm 5 minutes from my house. This is like a dead-end street. So I'm going to run through these horses, just give you a little update on what's going on top to bottom. So these are the horses. I guess this is the first time I've ever done this before. The horses that have shares left and what is going on with them. So I'm looking at the two buckets. Ontario, the bucket A and B, has 15 and 5 shares gone, lots gone, which is fine. We just put them up the other day. Many of you know that what's going on is, as I keep saying it in the way I keep saying it, Ontario is its own beast, its own entity, and we are going to draw horses from all over North America for those buckets, whether we buy them in Lexington, privately, Harrisburg, the London Select. I did not attend the win-back sale today. I just thought it was a rainy day. I looked through the sale. There wasn't really a whole lot there that interests us. We're just trying to get everything rolling here in sale season, and I just didn't see a starting point at win-back. This is not to say that there's anything wrong with those horses. Just wasn't anything for me there today. So how do I do this? I guess I just go from the most shares available, like from what I can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 horses have available shares. Now, 16 entities, so the two buckets shouldn't count, A and B. For those of you out there that want to be involved in Ontario, I haven't picked up the phone and started selling these lots out yet, but I would hope that everybody would help me by getting involved. Now, quite frankly, without having these lots sold, for those of you that already bought into them, thank you very much. Without selling these lots out, it gives me a pause. It makes me pause before I look at horses that we could or could not buy. It brings an added voice to my head saying, you know, are you going to have the backing for this horse if you buy it, right? And that's really what putting the buckets together allows me to do, is to go to Ohio, search out the best value we can find, and end up putting all sorts of different horses in those areas. And you know, without the financial backing of these groups, I can't do that. So for those of you out there that are Ontario clients that want to be involved in Ontario this year, I would urge you and hope that you start buying these lots up. Obviously, we're a good 2.5 weeks from the London sale, I suppose. We're quite a ways from Harrisburg, but Lexington is next week. We're 3 weeks from London. Is next week. Old Check, he's in the sale on Monday. I see there's 63 shares available of him. Melanie's Michaela, take your time. You're going to fall in love with this filly. She is absolutely stunning. She does everything perfect. And take your time buying the shares because eventually they'll be sold out. Rito Legacy's training back now. She's still at 42. Again, the private ones are the toughest ones. To sell out because we don't have we don't talk about them beforehand. We don't have the buildup of the sale. We don't have a yearling video to look at. You just have me talking about them, and there is a correlation between horses like Rito Legacy with lots of shares left and horses that come to us privately. Old Check is one. The other filly that we just sold, Chocolate for Lunch, is the other one. There's still 33 shares of the Lexington B bucket. I think we both know it. As soon as we get to Ohio, as soon as I get to Lexington, I suspect those shares will disappear also. Regardless of what bucket, you're going to find quality animals in Lexington, and I will find horses for this bucket also. I'm Fancy Like, again, another stunning filly. Dancing Yankee, great family. 27 shares left. That's fair. That's okay. Purple People Eater, I'm shocked. You guys left 25 shares of Purple Aura's sister up. Really? It's a really good-looking filly. You know, I don't want to get to a position where I say to myself, and I kept these 25 shares back for you, for our clients to buy into, so I'm a little surprised that they aren't. Again, Slim Jimmy's brother, Union Suit. There's 24 shares of him left. I understand the sale's just over. Lexington's coming. People are looking around. But again, these are things that I remember when we head into next year and I say, well, maybe we don't need 25. Maybe we need 10. Because, you know, I although it is nice to have shares for people to go in and look at and purchase, new clients potentially, it also means that I have to carry the cost of this. And at some point, that becomes a little more than I can financially handle. So I'd rather not have that take place. Stonebridge Acadi, those shares will sell out as he starts to go. He's at 469. You know what? He'll be worth that when he starts racing. And then you have the Illinois filly Alibaba, 18 shares. That's fair. That's fair. I don't see anything wrong with that. Cherahola is shocking to me. You guys left 14 there, and I think truthfully, I kept 20 of this filly. This was, it told everybody I want to be a part of Ohio too, which I don't always get a chance to be. Of all the horses we bought, all the fillies we bought, this was my top pick. She was number 3 overall to me. We didn't get number 1 or number 2, but number 3 was Cherahola, and I am absolutely shocked that she has any left. And then we have the Twin Bee Habanero. You guys don't want those. 645. That's insane. Born to Dance, there's 4 shares of him left at 303. So thank you very much for buying those out. Nice colt. Going to do some good for us, and we're down to 4 shares on him. So that's good. Now, we're going to run through the 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds. I'm going to let everybody know what's up, what's going on. Absolutely for you, training down, looking good. Anchor's up. Just castrated. He's going to continue training down towards his racing schedule. Brace for Landing races tomorrow at the Poconos. I just had lunch. My brother Mark is in town. Very rarely we get to go out and have lunch. So my mother was here. Mark was here. Everybody went out to lunch and had a great morning. Carter Michael Dio is ready to school on Tuesday, and I have every intention of prepping him and having him ready for the Breeders' Crown. I would like to see him school good and then race good next week here in Ontario. Cash Deals is back jogging, has been back jogging. It says injured. We're going to have to take that off. She's not injured any longer. I don't really know how to do that. I'll have to tell Wendy to do that. Columbus is racing in a fair, I think, Coshocton next weekend. You guys know how I feel about Columbus. I don't think he's a good horse, but we ended up retaining him because one of our clients wanted to keep him. I could see him growing into a useful kind of Buckeye 3-year-old. I could see him doing that. We'll see if that's in fact what he does. But he has been what he is all throughout the summer. Coupe de Ville has grown, matured mentally, physically. Really excited about racing her Wednesday. Wednesday in Northfield Park with the Rail and the Maiden. Crantini, what are you going to say? The horse had a tremendous year. Little flat, little sick last night. Roughed up, 3 wide around the first turn. He saw a lot of Campbellville actually last night. And it is what it is. Cunning Connie coming into the finals. Looked good the other day in the semifinals. Good for the owners of Cunning Connie. Cutie Cumber is out in the field. She'll come back in a little while. Five Fish Species has looked fantastic. She's racing Tuesday, I believe, at Mohawk. Full Heart is ready to go out in the field. I think what we'll do is jog her under TQ for a week and then turn her out in the field. We just don't want to take her off stall rest and then throw her out in a big giant paddock with other horses. That could turn bad quickly. So jog her for a week, take some of the starch out of her and turn her out. Gandalf the Black. I saw Gandalf today. He looks great. I saw him up at Shauna's farm. I wanted to take Daniel up and show him landing pad. So very happy with what I saw from Gandalf the Black. High Enterprise out in the field December 1st. That's the date for her to come back in. Horn Player, I saw her today also. She looked good. Lady All-Star is going to re-qualify on Tuesday at Mohawk. Landing Strip will be in to go this week. I jumped over Landing Pad. I saw him at Shauna's place also. He looks very, very good. Landing Strip, as I said, didn't get in last week. He'll be in to go this week, either at Philadelphia, I think, or Poconos. One or the other, I believe, is what Megan told me. Leaps and Bounds, I turned her and Sir Strong out in the field. Give them a good 6-7 weeks off. I'd really like to see this filly come back healthy, sound sharp, feeling good, filled out. That's what I'd like to see from her. Merchant Man got the rail at Mohawk this week. Can't wait to watch him race Mopower Baby. I'll have them ship her back this week so she goes out to Schaefer Farms immediately. More Than You Know is already out at Schaefer Farms growing up. We'll bring him back in mid to end November. Nothing But a Dreamer in the final. You know, he did look a little flat the other day, but I suspect he'll bounce back really well. He's in the final on next Saturday at Mohawk. I'll be racing Swinging Senorita in Ohio, but I'll be keeping a very close eye on Mohawk. My 1% back. I already jumped over him. Good. My 1% will be coming back. He's jogging right now, but will be coming back with us in the next little while. Oh My Gosh turned out. We'll bring him back December 1st also, I believe. Old Check, as I said, decent year. He's on the sale board tomorrow. He's on preferred sale. Supposed to sell tomorrow afternoon. Where are we at here? Rito Legacy continues to train down. Been in 232, I believe Mario told me. Silent Assassin, she'll come back in a couple of weeks now. I think a week or two she'll be back in going. Sipping on My Shine's been jogging. I haven't got an update. I'm interested to see how he goes. A guy that works for us, Joey Cramp, good guy. Him and his dad bought his full brother. Last horse in the sale in Ohio. So, interested to see how Sippin's going to do as we bring him back along. Sir Strong out in the field for the foreseeable future. No, he's not out in the field. He's back jogging now with, I just updated you on him. Back jogging now with Rod Hughes at his farm. We'll bring him over to First Line or Tamiko at some point in the near future. Sister Solange has looked good. Turned her out. I think she's going to be a really good. I think she's going to be a very good 3-year-old. We'll see. I believe she will. Smoking Hot Irish Girl looked great in Delaware. Looked great. Easy winner. She'll be in to go this week somewhere at some point. What else do we got? Spitfire Overseas will school Tuesday at Mohawk. Can't wait to see how he is. We do plan on prepping him once. If he looks fantastic, you may see him at the Breeders' Crown. If he doesn't, he may see the field, but he's had a good year and he's going to be a really, really good 3-year-old for us. I'm certain of that. Where are we at now? Swinging Senorita, Saturday at Dayton will be her last start of the year, the $300,000 final in Ohio. Tactical Mounds will race. She was also eligible last week. She'll race this week, either in Philly or Poconos or the Meadowlands, one or the other. Tailgate Buzz will come back in December 1st. We'll bring a lot of these horses back in. Warwi Yuri, he is massive. I just saw him out at Shauna and Timmy's farm. He's huge. He's ready to come back in now. What a mission. A few more starts, two, 3 more starts, and he's all done for the season. And wouldn't it be nice? Been in 210, Mario said. I still haven't seen her in the harness on the track, but he said she's been in 210. So those are your 2-year-olds. I'm just going to continue on. I'm going to keep rocking it right here. 3-year-olds, and Mordiner, 8-hole on this week. He needed a start next week. Now with an 8-hole, he might need another start. We'll see. Archer's Rainbow. Harry said he's put on a ton of weight and was training very, very good now, so that's great. Atlas Hanover, great first elimination of the jug, roughed up bad in the final. He'll bounce back. We'll give him a week off and race him. I know Jason's lobbying hard to keep this horse at Northfield Park, and we may just do that. You know, he is eligible to do a lot of things in the States. I would like to see him get in with a crew he's supposed to beat and race him in a way that he's supposed to win. I'd love to see us do that. So we may do that very thing this week at Northfield Park. You might see him racing the Melmore as a 4, and then we'll reassess. I think that's fair. I think that's fair to that horse. That's exactly what we're going to do. Blue Tesla's got the rail this week. I expect much bigger things from this filly this week. Bravura will skip this week. She had a high AST and GGT last week. Whether we train her up this coming Saturday at like a week from yesterday and then decide to race her the next week, or we bring her to Ontario, one or the other this week coming for Brav. That won't be Saturday. That'll be like Thursday. Maybe we'll school her on Wednesday. Maybe that's what we'll do, because we do have to qualify a horse. Maybe that's exactly what we'll do. Dustin Heller, I can't wait to see this one. He'll race in Ontario this year. He's in Northfield training right now, but he will be coming to Ontario. I think Mohawk will really pick him up. He's a big colt. Can't wait to see what he looks like when we start getting closer to the races. Garden State Dio. I'll probably, let's say Sunday. I'm going to train her Tuesday. I'll tell Mary I'll go there on Tuesday. I want to get a look at her. Gemstone Ruby Rose. Maybe they'll train together on Tuesday. Grace is in the sale tomorrow. We'll see how that plays out. A lot of people asking me, what's my reserve? I don't know. It's got to be north of 30. She's in the final, right? If she's ever worth, she'll never be worth more than she is right now at par. And if they don't want her, fine, I'll keep her. And she'll go directly to Yonkers Raceway right after the final, where she can race in the non-winners of 3, non-winners of 4. I guarantee you she will be a super useful non-winners of 3, non-winners of 4, non-winners of 5 type filly at Yonkers, 100% for sure. Now, why did that do that? So where were we? Grace. How the hell is going to race without hobbles? I'm super excited to watch this horse race without hobbles this week. He looked very, very good the other day. Schooling, I'm told, and I can't wait to see what he looks like. JK Mickey Mantle, a winner, but on the right line, a little out of gear. Think we got a fix for that this week. We're going to work on him all week and race him back next week. Also, Massive Profit is going to Dayton in the 30 claimer for 3-year-olds, non-winners of 6, I'm told, which it sounds to me like that's a very, very good place for him to be. My Sweet Mimi is in to go this week. You might see her coming to Ontario shortly after this. Procrastinator will be out for another, let's say end of October. Middle to the end of October. No, towards the end of October for Procrastinator. Purple Aura will race. She's still got the final and the consolation. You may actually see her up for sale in between those 2 races. And I know that a lot of our clients are going to be like, come on, can we not keep her until she's 4? No. We are not keeping Purple Aura through her 4-year-old season. We are not breeding Purple Aura. She will be put up for sale, likely in between the Consolation and the Buckeye. We simply can't keep every horse. I made Pete made her argument the other day to be at least bred, if not kept. And if we do breed her, it'll be probably to sell her in full. I know a lot of people you have all these great ideas where we're going to race them at 4 and keep them and breed the mares and keep all the foals. We still have to be very careful, right? We have a number of brood mares. We don't want to get in over our head. We don't want to be stretched in any direction. We want to make sure that we are on an even keel, straight and forward. The model we have put forward has worked very, very well throughout 2022, and I think we're only going to expand forward from that model into 2023. So keeping with that, we will be offering up for sale. You see Slim Jimmy up for sale tomorrow, and Purple Aura might be up for sale within the next 3 weeks. We'll see. Red Overbach. A different situation here. This guy, there's no need to have him up for sale because what he's worth now is what he'll be worth in a month. I think he does have a bright 4-year-old future, and even if I'm wrong, you're not going to be wrong by a lot because he's racing in those classes right now. Renegade Gypsy, some question marks forming with this guy. He looked great the other day, has trotted in 53, and James said, we should, maybe send this guy to Yonkers. He said, get her on a half-mile track in those middle condition classes. You might say to yourself, Anthony, why, when we don't like New York that much, are we talking about Yonkers? Well, it's pretty simple. They race for an absolute obscene amount of money there, and being able to have horses that can race there, will race there, and show that they're going to be very competitive there makes for a great storyline for our horses. We are always going to be a stable and a company that buys and races vertically. What I mean by that is we're going to continue to race the horses straight through the 2- and 3-year-old season. If it is obvious that we should retain them and keep them through longer, we will. And if it looks like they may saturate their wins or their earning potential and those paths start to narrow, then we have to do what's right for everybody, the stable and for the group, and move those horses. And I know a lot of people may not agree with that, but I need to be abundantly clear. That is exactly what we are going to do moving forward. We are going to move forward in a way that makes sense. I say it all the time. We are going to continue to learn from our mistakes of the past and keeping those horses. And it was a gentleman that said to me, well, he referenced globetrotting. Massive mistake trying to race her as a 5-year-old. She should have been bred last year. That's on me. She's made $59,000 since the final in Ohio. And although it can't be about making money, because I tell everybody this is a terrible industry to make money in, doesn't mean you can't try. And from time to time, when we've made a mistake and something comes along that looks a lot like what we just did, we need to learn from that. Resolute Bay, as a quote, I tell everybody, this guy's races are ahead of him, his best races. He isn't mature yet. You look at Renegade Gypsy, he looks awesome. He looks great. They've done a great job with this colt. He's big, he's strong, he's doing things right. But he is mature. He's a big boy. Now, he's going to get better as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old. There's no two ways about that. At least a little bit, I believe. Resolute Bay is going to get much better as a 4-year-old and 5-year-old. He's a much more narrow, what's the best way to put it? Immature is the only way to put it. He's still immature, this colt, and he's going to get better as he moves along. Both are nice colts in very different ways, but Resolute Bay will be staying for sure with us. Slim Jimmy, as I said, he's up for sale tomorrow. We'll see how he goes through. We do have a reserve on him, and it is a decent reserve. The horse trotted him 54 in Delaware. You know, I think he's hit the board 16 times at 20 starts or 18 starts or something. It's a good horse. There's no two ways about that. Get around any size track, leave, sit, race from behind, on the front. He's the type of horse that anybody would want in their barn. But he's running out of room for us. Stonebridge Ducati continues to train down well. 2.9, I'm told. He's been in from Mario. I haven't seen him myself, but he looks good. Sweet on Pete, man. I gave her every chance. I let her rock the other day, and she was very, very good racing in Delaware. 3-point blue chip. I'm waiting for an update, but I'm told he was supposed to train in 2 minutes this week. It's getting pretty exciting with this guy. That's quite the storyline with this guy. It's an amazing story. Ty went on. I think she cramped up a little bit last night, but you know, leaving the gate, I couldn't get her over in front of the 1 and 2. I figured I'd follow Bob. He was back down the favorite or second favorite. He didn't race good either, and he gets stalled in horrible traffic. Just very, very impressed with her all year, but last night she wasn't her best. She wasn't her, and it's nobody's fault. Retention, cold weather. Did she cramp up a bit? When you're in against horses that you're not supposed to beat, if you're not 105%, you don't look that great. And you know, we raced against the best 3-year-old fillies around last night, and you know, she was 8th. She tried 54, come 28. Let's put her in a spot where that's going to end you up in the winner's circle, and that's what we're going to do. She's heading to Pennsylvania right now as we speak. She's on her way back to the Poconos, or back to New York to race in the Poconos in Philly. You might actually see her herself in Yonkers at some point also. So for these horses that we're keeping over for at least a little while, I would ask everybody to at least ask if your horse is potentially ever going to race at Yonkers, because there are some horses that may end up there. We had this talk with Good As Him racing now in Saratoga. He was a winner today. We had this talk with Patrick the Piranha when he raced there. We do have some horses that may end up racing there. We do have all the horses that are with Megan may race there at some point, and most definitely Ty One On may show up there also. So please, if you own a piece of these horses, at least ask, hey, is there a chance my horse is heading to Yonkers? At the very least, at the very most, just go get yourself a New York license. I know it's a pain in the butt for a bit, but if we're going to race the horses there and they're going to do us some good, then please be ready for that. Twinbee Habanero, I forgot to look and see if he qualified. I hope he did. I assume he did. And I can't wait to see him racing better in the near future, hopefully. Unbeatable Kemp looks like $1 million. First time we ever did this. We kept the horse over, skipped over the entire 3-year-old staking season so that we could focus on the fall and the winter. Pretty bold move, Cotton, as they say. But I believe it's going to pay off. This is going to be a very, very nice 3-year-old, and we're going to see how he races straight into the 4-year-old winter in spring. Will to Win Hanover, you guys know the drill with her. We're going to continue to race her right into January, February, and then we're going to put her in full to the Best Cross. For those of you out there, it's almost that time. For those of you out there that are our pedigree gurus, I am not. You can start sending me emails at your convenience, who you think she should go to. It's not going to be international money. It'll likely have to be, and again, I don't know who crosses the best, Walner, Green Shoe, somebody at the top line of trotting sires. And I only say not international money because I love international money. I think we should breed all our mares to international money, the ones we're keeping. We're likely going to sell a mare like Will to Win Hanover in full. So it has to be something that the breeders are going to be able to sink their teeth into. I think everybody should sink their teeth into international money, but not everybody has supported him. That's his only problem now for the next couple of years, is that the top mares are not in full to international money. When that starts to happen, I think you're going to see things shift for the and what his job is going to be very difficult, right? And it's not really his job, but his genetics. He has to push through a mediocre list of broodmares that are in foal to him. He has to hope that those foals race above their perceived potential and look great to the point where people say, Jesus, you know, he didn't get a great book of mares and he still did fantastic, which he did this year. We should maybe be breeding some of our better mares to him. At that point, the stock on international money as a sire will rise, exponentially. World for Two, going to bring this guy back with Procrastinator, race him throughout the winter. Where, I'm not sure yet. Will that be the Meadows? Will that be Mohawk? Could very likely be Mohawk. We'll see. Now we're into the 4-year-olds, Adrenaline Rush. Time's ticking. He keeps racing the way he did the other day. He'll be claimed. Man, he looked good, but he is not going back to Mohawk. I was glad that nobody really pushed me on this. When he goes on the track at Mohawk in 10 and 12 and 25 to 1, he does not belong there. He was on the track at 8 to 5 and 6 to 5 at Grand River in that class. That's where he belongs now. Grand River's closed. He'll be racing at London this week. Good as Him was just a winner in Saratoga. He looked fantastic today in the mud, 57. Iglarium will qualify on Tuesday. I will go with her. I'm going to aim for 56, 57 with her with a flat line. That's what we're looking for. LD's Patrick, pretty well ready to drop the hammer whenever we want. He's looked great. I'd like to have him back here in Ontario. Locatelli, here's a horse that's going to be with us for a long time, I believe. He's at an okay 4-year-old year so far. I expect him to finish off 2022 with a bang and then straight into 2023 throughout the winter and spring. We'll see how that plays out for Locatelli. My Jazz will be ready to go in a couple of weeks. She's only going to race till end of January, and then she's going right back to the broodmare shed, and that is what's going to happen with My Jazz. No free lunch, favorite on the program out of the 8-hole, a great qualifier. Had some time off with some blood issues. We never had that before, where we just couldn't get a horse's blood right. No, never had that before. But his was. It's good now, and he's ready to go. Walk on the Moon was a winner in his last two. He had a tough schedule last week. He raced on what did he race? He raced Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, I believe. Impressive. He put a little Teflon on him, tightened him up a little bit. He was very good his last two. Lauren drove him great his last two starts, and hopefully he can grow from there. Compass Rose DC, like My Jazz, is almost ready to go. They will race throughout the fall and winter into the end of January. Then they will both be bred again. And I can tell you what, they're both going back to international money because these are foals we're keeping, right? These aren't horses. Like when we talk about Will to Win Hanover, or even potentially Sweet on Pete, we're not going to keep those foals. Those mares, who both are pretty well bred, well, one very well bred and one pretty well bred, will be put in full with the intention of selling them in full. And you might ask why. You know, when I told you guys we were selling Sweet on Pete, the number I had in my head was somewhere 60 to 80,000 US. That's what she's worth, and I still think she's worth that. Looking at her pedigree, it's still pretty strong. Now, a lot of Ohio bred, a lot of Ohio blood, which isn't bad, but when you breed, like say you bred her to Walner, again, I'm just throwing a name out there. People would look at the Walner, it's an Uncle Peter mare. She was a good mare, but is this a horse that we're going to keep? I don't know. I can't answer that question. But when we keep Sweet on Pete and when we keep Will to Win Hanover and put them in full, they will be put in full to be sold, right? And Globetrotting may also be put in full to be sold. But when you look at My Jazz, Compass Rose, DC horses, I think we're very good horses with pretty decent pedigrees. We'll likely keep those horses because the marketability of both of them is a lot less than the three that were just mentioned before them. Just talked about Globetrotting. She's Indigo this week. She is heading to Pennsylvania right after her next start. She's going to race at Poconos, Philly, maybe Yonkers, maybe the Meadowlands. So again, if you're a Globetrotting client, if you're an owner of ours, Mohawk has pushed our hand. They have forced my hand. That filly is leaving. That mare is leaving. She'll be bred this winter also, but for now, she is headed to the east coast of the U.S. Holding the Tone will be ready to go probably 6 weeks, I think. I made the decision that we were going to keep him, freshen him up, fatten him up, and get him ready for the fall and winter. We have a very strong front end of our stable for this winter. You know, when you look at Locatelli that's racing, White Tiger continues to race. Then we have LD's Patrick. Good as Him on the East Coast or over in New York. Sailor still ours. Kings County will be back at some point. Stay Close. Yes, needs to get it going, but he can. Per Lucky, these are all Sintra, Patrick the Piranha. The front end, the front line of our stable for the fall and winter of 2022 is incredibly strong, and I can't wait to see them race. And Holding the Tone can join that crew, I would expect. Sailor, as I just said, he's going to go to Southern Ohio right after this start. They raced Globetrotting. I believe Locatelli's racing against Globetrotting. And Sailor is racing against Red Overbach. So Sailor's leaving and Globetrotting, they're both leaving as of Tuesday. So Sailor will race his next start in Dayton, Ohio. Kings County, Big mile, big summer, big year for us with him. Probably due for a little bit of a rest. Now, Lasix horse, I don't really know that you want to give him 2 months off, fatten him up, and take your time bringing him back. He'll probably have 3 weeks in the field and then some sort of hybrid training, I believe is what Stacy had discussed with me, or it's going to be a little paddock time jogging training and then have him ready to go. I would suspect 6-7 weeks. I think that's smart. Very smart idea. That's likely what you're going to see with Kings County. He is going to be ready, or he's going to be racing in Dayton all winter. I jumped over Stay Close. We'll have him ready to go. He put a good 150, 200 pounds on. I thought he looked good. Somebody said they thought he looked thin the other day. I can assure you, horse his size, he's put on at least 150, 200 pounds. I'm super happy with the way this horse looks. White Tiger, couldn't be any happier with this horse. Right now, truthfully, with Kings County probably going out to the field, White Tiger might be the best horse we're racing right now. He was incredible his last 2 starts, and we want to keep it that way. His next one's in the Open. This will be his next run at the Open. He's like a fighter that just got beaten a title shot, and then gets that last shot, that third shot. He's coming again, and that's White Tiger. He's going for another run at the title here at Mohawk. He'll be starting in his Open debut again, I guess, since we turned him out next week, a week from Monday at Mohawk. Patrick the Piranha has been awesome, continues to be awesome, and whatever Mark and Melissa decide to do, I stand behind it 100%. There's no talk of resting him yet. I don't know where they plan on racing him after Plain Ridge. I haven't had that discussion with them. I will in the near future. Per Lucky has been absolutely great. Just can't get him consistently racing, but I think we can rectify that at some point in the near future between Indiana and Springfield over the next 2 weeks, and then if we have to make a decision after that, we will. He may need a rest at some point also, so we'll see what we do with Per Lucky. And then my boy Sintra, not really my boy, I mean, I've only driven him once actually, but a horse that obviously for obvious reasons means a lot to me and has meant a lot to me. Can't wait to see what he does. I think we are going to take him to the Meadows and race him at the Meadows his next 2 or 3 starts. I just want to get that money from PEI and whatnot off his card. Even by winning at the Meadows, we're still theoretically subtracting money from his card, and when we bring him back, he should be able to race in the backup class at Mohawk. He's just not quite good enough. I'm glad he didn't race last night. They ended up going in 48-3, I believe. I don't believe it's fair to him to be pushing. You know, for him to pace 50-51 at the Meadows is fine. You're racing against horses that aren't also Mohawk Open type horses. He's in with his own kind, and that's where he should be racing. So for now, I believe the plan for Sintra will be race him next Friday at the Meadows. So for those of you that are my partners in Sintra, if you own more than 4% of Sintra, you will need a Pennsylvania license, and I would hope you would look into that very, very soon. So with that, I'll let you guys go. I know you didn't have a great weekend. I know we don't always have great weekends. The reality of life, certainly of horse racing, is that there is ups and downs, and this week was a down. It's all right. Delaware, for the most part, was good. The jug final sucked. Saturday night sucked at Mohawk. It wasn't the worst week we've ever had, but I hope we have many, many better than that moving forward. So with that, I'll let you go. Take care. And I'm sure with everything going on over the next week, we will be in touch. Take care.